shareable stuff. I'm pretty sure. It's just so strange to see yourself look from the screen. It's a bizarre feeling. You'll never get used to it.
Wait until you have teenagers who just FaceTime. They don't call.
All right, so we are live. We're waiting on trustee Jennifer and trustee Hannah's meeting purgatory. When we get out of noise, we can move to this one.
I read a study about back-to-back meetings. Evidently, your stress levels just step up. You sort of ratchet up for each meeting, but with a 5-minute break between, you reset. Oh, you need. I was hoping it would be like 30 minutes, which is a direct relationship between.
That's why I use the stress like productivity.
Oh no, this was like brain scans, so it was just stress level. It didn't address productivity, but I would assume that there's a correlation there.
You just says virtual versus in person.
No. Well, that would also be interesting. Yeah,
We could probably get a grant to study this.
I'm pretty sure we could.
Oh, no.
Someone could. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we could too if we did some Cornell outreach.
Well, it did also drop copies of the sewer law and someone got into this meeting folder in Dropbox in case you didn't have them.
Sewer law. I forget when was that? I'm trying to remember when I read that.
I
think it was a year ago.
The first December meeting is when I found it most recently. But that doesn't mean that it was.
No, but there was like, yeah, there was an initial,
Oh, the very
a
first.
preliminary draft.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was like almost a year ago.
So Carver, can you tell us about small children in the snow today?
Yeah, it's the best. Oh man, yeah, we woke up and went sledding.
You did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Do you have a place to sled right outside your?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like surrounded by sledding, so it's like a question of how steep do you want? Which means how old is the baby that I'm sledding? And I guess it's a very clear.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It really is. It's like it's my sledding is that's my happy place.
Yeah, great.
There we go.
Love sledding too.
Mm.
It is fun. I was gonna do my own.
As long as you remember.
I'm not really amazing.
As long as you don't do mine where you're just sitting here on the break with that effort, taking about it small. Yeah, what did you do with your 2 hours?
Came to work on time. But I did for the very first time I tasked Sylvia to turn them on and I was inside. Which is the first.
I mentioned something to that effect in the voice today about if you're old enough now to shovel. Got a chuckle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easier to play with that.
That's all. Well, you won't let us use the snowblower. Let me do
Wait, not the street, just the front door. I don't really want to shovel.
it. Once upon a time, you had to do the driveway.
Yeah.
It would've been
And
tough.
it's-
This was heavy snow. It's this place. See, my boy goes out and shovels our wall. Intermittently and in patches. There's nothing productive about it. But man, this is shovel.
No, very productive. It's getting out of the house. It's not being
Productive. That's true. That's a good point.
So the kids path was only one shovel in the bottom. But perfect. And Wiley's was really narrow, but essentially. That one.
You know, say that's about, right?
Yeah, she's like, this is what I think is perfect.
No, they're about 88.
You don't know.
Well.
There's also maybe, I don't know, the other one, right, and put in a big giant storage strip.
Yes,
Okay, so then you're gonna have space to plug in, maybe.
I've never seen something that large.
It is a lot of,
It is
of outlets.
what,
It
a
is.
dozen plus?
2 dozen.
When that's not
That'll be.
museum size right there.
Waiting to hear what Keith's ETA might be.
Top is no break at bottom.
What happened in between meetings? I mean, meeting before. Stressing me. You just.
But I don't honestly know.
That actually would make sense.
And this is kind of like, oh, this is goodbye. Oh, no, it's, I still.
That's interesting.
Microsoft stuff.
Okay, well, as it is 7:10. I will call to order this second monthly meeting of the Village of Trumansburg Board of Trustees. Everyone is present with the exception of Trustee Hannon, who is on his way. So we'll proceed slowly. Hope that he's able to get here and catch up. Are there any changes to the agenda? Some things we wanted to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add discussing having authorizing Gordon to sign a contract for a sewer rate study.
Okay, we'll do that under new business. Any other items to add or subtract from the agenda? I do have a couple of items related to budget meetings and dates. And then we will have need of an executive session at the end. Okay, if there's no other changes to the agenda, we have our first public comment period. No one online. David, did you have anything? No. Then we will move on to old business. First item being the letter's already been sent to the Board of Elections, but we do need to formally notice village election day for the purpose of filling a one-year term for village trustee. That election will be Tuesday, March the 21st, 2023. And we do have to notice that by resolution. So I would entertain a motion to notice publicly and with the Tompkins County Board of Elections, March 21st, 2023, as a village election day for the purpose of filling one village trustee seat for a one-year term.
So
Second,
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just tried to mute myself before coughing. That's how much time I spend
Mm.
in not real life.
Someday.
Radio studio cough.
Exactly.
Okay, next item of old business is zoning draft.
Yes, so in the Dropbox is a draft of the proposal from the committee that was finally approved at the committee's meeting last Monday with the resolution. So that is a huge step forward. Long time coming, 18 months in progress to get here. This is not substantially different than the copy that's on the website that's already kind of been shared around. My expectation for next steps is to have the meeting of the State of the Village and hear feedback there. Obviously, if anyone here has any concern or questions, comments about any of this, I will have a link from EDR shortly that I can share around that will be a place for people to put comments. And I would also like to share this with the planning board and the zoning board for their any additional comments. But I don't think at this point I'm ready to kind of start talking about an actual public hearing or anything yet. We're still kind of collecting feedback. But I did want to point out that it has been formally moved to this board and we're kind of driving that process now.
Excellent. Well, once again, thank you to you and to everyone on the CPZR for, by my count, just from the emails that I'm privy to, several thousands of hours of work getting to this point. So thank you to all of you. And this has been through attorney review at this point. So certainly want to collect as much feedback as we can from the community, and so we'll have at least State of the Village, and might be worth trying to have one additional kind of, well, we'll figure out how we feel about public forum after we see what the feedback is at State of the Village. And we can start talking public hearing at some point.
I do have like kind of the other thing EDR is working on is a rough calendar of events. Once we kind of decide to really start moving forward, when does seeker happen? When does county review happen? When does a public hearing happen? That sort of a thing. But we can decide, when to actually trigger that and start walking down that path whenever we feel it makes sense.
Okay, great. Any other questions or comments on the formally presented draft zoning document from the CPCR?
Just to reiterate your thanks. Can't say that one.
Okay, next item then of old business is sewer law.
Yes, so we're also starting to move through adopting a sewer law. That's also for the agenda for State of the Village. We kind of have a bit of a chicken and an egg. I think we were looking to send out letters to commercial users ahead of a public hearing, but it would also be nice to have a date for that public hearing in that letter. So what I wanted to talk about here is, I guess I can just move this. So I think we need a motion for public hearing, right? To schedule a public hearing. To schedule the public hearing for the sewer law for our March 13th board meeting. I didn't look as if that has budget conflicts, so that would be one thing to consider. Let me take that back. I won't move that. Let's talk about dates. My thought was March 13th for board meeting for a public hearing for the sewer law. Felt like it was kind of out far enough that we could get letters out. But as I'm thinking of it, there's not a pressing urgent need on this. And if we want to wait till we're a little bit further out of budget season, we could also do that.
Like April.
Maybe, but I don't remember where we are in budget season at that point.
I mean, April's the organizational meeting for the budget, so that would be kind of a big one. That would be already.
Yeah,
So if it wasn't March, it would have. I would guess.
well, we could
Or
look
a
at
second.
we could look at second meetings too, possibly.
And second meeting in March or April would be doable.
Because the second meeting in March, like, we will not be in budget.
We better have it buttoned up by then.
Certainly second meeting in April. We won't have the rate study done by then, will we?
There's a ways off.
We
We
might.
might. Is the. Can't remember now if we have the rate is in here. Is it?
It's not, I'm just thinking of.
Right, I mean, it's nice to have the
Like,
two
yeah.
together. I know, because I know we have currently, we have to, the state rate is in the law and that's annoying. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a good guess by then, but I guess I don't really know what municipal solutions timeline is. I don't feel like it's that enormous amount of work, but I don't know what else they've got on their plate. I would err on the side of earlier rather than later, just because I think zoning is adoption is going to start spinning up by that point as well. I would guess. It'd be nice not to have to kind of be juggling two things at the same time, but. So even though they're pretty related, I might consider the law and the rate as two kind of different subjects.
Right. Well, I'm open for recommendations on a date.
I'd go for the second in March, which would be the 27th. If other folks are amenable to that.
Yeah, I'm,
Okay, we don't need to resolve to establish the public hearing. We
Oh.
just need to formally introduce the local law, which we have. This would be local law 2. We'll look up local law something of 2023.
It's not on,
So it was shared as a news item, but
I mean, it's not something, it's not on.
oh, no, because that's just going to depend on how many other laws we pass, which is,
Okay.
as far as I can tell, is just the rate cap, tax cap limit, but maybe they've forgotten something else there.
Okay,
Yeah, so we'll be number 1. Tax cap will come first.
so you just want to recognize in the minutes formally that there will be a public hearing March 27th relating to the local law. As is the record.
Yes, and then now we need to notice that public hearing.
And notice the.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Anything else on the sewer law?
That's it. I think, is there anything else you need for that letter?
Nope.
Right, so we'll keep working on that letter and getting that out to commercial users who are most likely to be impacted in any way as soon as we can.
Just I recall was in our sort of strategy, communication strategy was the state of the village is happening on the fourth. We bring it to people's attention at this meeting, the state of the village is happening March 4th. The letter will go out after that and certain point of time.
Yeah.
The public hearing. Okay, great.
Okay. Before we get to that last item under old business, while we're looking at calendars, let's nail down a replacement second meeting date for February. So February the 27th. I think a number of us won't be in town.
I won't be.
So is there another date the week of the 20th that we're all here? Our regular February meeting is the 13th. And I'm wondering if we have capacity for a meeting, possibly the 16th, as well as the 20th, 21st or 22nd. One of those would be, if we can meet the 16th, that would be just for budget. And then the 20th, 21st, or 22nd would be our replacement for the 27th.
I can make any of those. The CPZR anticipates meeting here on the 20th. So if we don't have to use that date, that would be preferable. That is also President's Day.
Yeah.
And the 21st is.
That
So
was
we
what I
should,
was-
we shouldn't ask her to come in for a budget meeting on her birthday. It's
22nd.
cruel and unusual.
Yeah,
22nd and 16th. I can do both of those.
Everybody do the 16th and the 22nd.
Yes,
Yeah, with the caveat that the 22nd, we may not need, right? Do we have a plan for that already?
I think we will need them.
That is ominous, but it's open for me, so I'm fine with that.
So let's do that. Let's do the 16th.
We've historically done budget meetings earlier. Do you want to do that or keep it at 7?
I don't know, is earlier better or worse for some of us?
Probably worse for me.
yeah,
but not
worse for me too.
out of the question.
Actually worse for me, despite me being the one that brought it up. I prefer 7 if we're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so we have the 16th at 7.
so is there also,
22nd at 7.
and there's also a meeting on the 13th, the regular,
Yes,
okay,
the 13th does not need to be noticed, but the 16th or the 22nd will.
yeah. Because then, and their budget oriented, both of them, I can mention that, just say them.
That's better.
It's special meeting.
Yeah,
Special
both
meeting.
special meetings, not regular meetings. Okay, 16th, 22nd, and over 27th. Okay. And then if for some reason we still don't have a budget by the 22nd, that would be very ominous, and we would need to dedicate some time on the 13th at our regular meeting in March. Okay. Last item under old business is Greg Street footbridge naming. So we've had some recommendations and suggestions over the last month or so, and Marcia wanted to. We have not received a resolution regarding Women's History Month, but Marcia wanted to talk about one potential option for the naming of the Greg Street footbridge.
yes, I did. And there were a lot of great suggestions. Even Alan Vogel suggested that we name it after Doris Chantra, but I do want to say, I knew I remembered this. There is a Doris Chantra Day in Trumansburg. It is June 30th, and it happened in 1987. And Richard Owlett was the mayor. Actually, Joan Stewart was the deputy mayor at the time. So there is a Doris Chantra Day in Trumansburg. But when I got to thinking about it, I got to thinking about how many women have contributed their time and energy and had founded so many organizations that have made this community what it is. Group of women founded the Historical Society. Group of women founded the Gem Shop. We have had historians and judges, and so I would like to propose that we name the Greg Street Bridge the Women's Bridge and dedicate that bridge to all the women that have contributed their time, their service, their philanthropy to our village to make it what it is. And I think it would be well noted to do that in light of Women's History Month coming up in March. And I just wanted to know what you would think. That way it could just be a blanket acknowledgement for all the, because there are going to be women not only in the past, but women in the future that are going to contribute to our village as well. And this would be an acknowledgement of all those people that have helped.
I think my only reservation is I'm not sure that the bridge, it seems like there might be a better. Or more center of the village kind of thing to name. Right, something that might be more attention grabbing and more meaningful. I like the idea, I think that's great. But that bridge is kind of out of the way.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people use it though.
It's true. And they're walking, so they might actually read a plaque.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like that thinking on those historical examples are powerful. That's my first thought was like, is that celebratory not that bridge? I guess my other question is, do we have any kind of official policy to name things in the village? Just having worked at a university, I know there's extensive criteria and
We have a flag policy, but that is enough.
but it does make me think, I would hate to go down this road, but it makes me think like, do we need one? Do we need a naming policy? Because again, having worked in fundraising and stuff, like universities have a very strict criteria for how someone gets their name on something, who approves it. So there's a set of standards.
How much money is donated?
Like,
Somebody would love to donate money for a statue. That'd be wonderful.
so this board doesn't decide we're gonna name everything word art all over the village, because we don't have someone else.
So we definitely don't have a naming policy. I don't know. Well, this would probably involve any policy, but I don't know that us creating a naming policy helps anyone but us. Because it's not going to in any way bind a future board. That says we don't like that naming policy. So we're going to repeal the naming policy and name something.
Tear down all the ordinance statutes.
That's right.
I mean, it does beg the question, like, do we need something that kind of triggers an approval or not? I mean, people could really have a hypothetical problem. Somebody comes in and says, I really think you should do this after so-and-so, why have we done it? And we say, we just don't really like that person. As long as I've been on this board, I've never been part of a name, so
Yeah.
these are all just things that kind of come to mind. What's like a flag policy, really? Do you want to let anyone hang any flag, or do you want to kind of decide?
So the opposite is we don't name the bridge at all. We just leave it the way it is and not acknowledge any.
Yeah, so I mean, the flag policy is born out of First Amendment considerations. Naming something, whether it's streets or village property. You can check with Guy. With Mirror Crumley. But I don't think it has the same implications. It's like. If we wanted to change the name of the farmer's market park to. Any, to anything else, then there really wouldn't be the same concern as someone from the public coming and saying, sure, we would like you to display this, and we pick and choose who we say yes to. But I can certainly check on that. That's an interesting question.
I just thought it would be something that was simple, that would be all encompassing and. You know,
Can I offer something?
Yeah.
Would be what about the notion of dedicating? What if it's the Greg Street Bridge, but it's dedicated to women as bridge builders? There's that. There's one.
and then we just make
Make a
plaque saying that, right? I mean,
Maybe still tell the story and
exactly.
honor women as bridge builders.
Yes, absolutely.
Bridge builder.
I mean,
The bridge builder piece really brings it home for me, I have to say.
It does.
All of a sudden, the bridge makes sense.
yeah, I guess that's what I was looking for, like the significance of the bridge with women's contributions. I mean, unless women in the village built that bridge by hand, then that would be.
Oh, I was looking for it as you were symbolic, not
Well, that's
like
what I mean.
literal.
That speaks to me now, like the idea that.
Right.
That
And that bridge has been such a connection to the village, to bringing everyone to the heart of the village. Was kind of my thinking.
Would we want to include a plaque with names of prominent?
You know what? There's so many, and there's going to be more. So I think if we made it dedicated to,
I would hate to be the person who draws the line, like you
Ex-
made it on the list and you
Yeah.
didn't. You know what I
because
mean?
once I got to thinking about it, I mean, I had 10 fingers and 10 toes more. So,
I like that. I like Jeff. I think you're working.
Unless the Green Space Committee,
Dedication.
yeah, and that was my thinking with the bridge too. More of the symbolic sort of,
unless the Green Space Committee has an idea for a central monument.
It's not necessarily exclusive, because you still have an opportunity. In some way.
And I'm not afraid. Because we don't have. I'm personally not committed to Wright Street or maybe it's the bridge. Like that's an unofficial thing. Anyway, right? It's not. It's because it's on Wright Street.
and we could write the plaque with that connotation of to all the women that built, you know,
I think
the
that's great.
connections and the bridges within the community that have sustained us all these years and there's so many organizations that are still here.
You still do also, if you want to mention, we keep other opportunities to do that, because obviously some are prominent or some are first, or, and then leave them to explore more of the stories.
Right.
And even to
Mm-hmm. We could even put a little zhuzhy thing, maybe even on our government website that says go to and learn about whomever.
Is this the kind of thing we want to, do we dare mention this in passing or not in passing at the State of the Village to get feedback from folks, or we just want to take the idea and run with it?
Sure, we can get feedback, why not?
Again, I think also if you're gonna, it is the Gray Street Bridge, just call that. You're not really changing the name, you're as a village board making an education.
Right,
But I don't. no.
but it would be nice to have a plaque or something there, just with the acknowledgement and,
Or both sides of it, like village land there. Not post office. Just trying to be aware.
could actually come right off the post, couldn't it? At the end?
We get super crazy and have a wayfaring banner or wayfaring sign at the beginning of the platform. Street side. Gray Street Bridge.
Arch. Bring Durand out of retirement.
There we go. That's an idea. What do you think, gentlemen?
No, I'm in favor. I like the
No.
connection. I like the connection to the building bridges. I was just trying to figure out. The like, is there an issue with naming things? I like your idea of sidestepping that completely by dedicating it. If we really do want to name it. I very strongly hesitantly suggest we ask Guy. I think there's,
I don't think we need to. I think the only restrictions on naming something would be like post office stuff associated with changing the name of a road. Like MLK and State Street in Ithaca or something where you're like,
Right.
you're dealing with these things. Something like a bridge. I mean, we named the Giant, we can name the park, we can name the building, anything that we own. I mean, we have the power to
Name
name
it.
things.
yeah,
Right, like I.
No, I suppose that-
Our Stacy.
I suppose
it's like,
that's-
It's fine.
I mean, we could certainly run it by the community. It's State of the Village and see if it gets,
I think as
But-
long as we make it very clear that we are making this decision for our own purposes and not. Because anyone asked us or it was a
right.
recommendation from somewhere else.
Well,
Because
and
if
that's why
it's a community, if it's a group asking us to name something. Then I think we very quickly get into much of the same hot water as flags, because it's all about. Creating a space where the community can name things through us, and that's a no-go.
yeah,
But I think if we're just saying, we as a board,
are going to dedicate this
this bridge
bridge.
is
and
closed, we're reopening it, it's a great moment. We'd like to dedicate it to women.
In honor of Women's History Month.
And
Yes.
I think you kind of tie that together, and
The line of that.
I don't foresee an issue there. And then it's still up to us whether we want to name it for women or dedicate it for women, and I could
Yeah.
go either
Please
way.
and honor that, when you send thoughts, suggestions, comments you have on women's history, your experience, whatever, there's a way for people to contribute
Right.
their voice towards the project without.
But we also have to consider this great opportunity turnaround time, right, assets made for this
Right.
in conjunction with this March. We have to
Right.
this March.
Well, we can also.
We
name
can dedicate
could
it
have-
without having any,
Yeah, the sun can come later.
yeah,
We can do a mock-up sign that's not bronze. you can-
Need it, and
Oh,
you dedicate to something, you can't be like, and I dedicate what will be here. I've never seen that done, but maybe it's been done.
You can still cut a ribbon and be at the bridge.
It's an emperor's new clothes situation. You just have to convince people. It's better.
The bridge is still there. Let's be clear. That is there.
yes.
We anticipate bridges.
Jordan likes to talk about hills he would die on, and I just want to say that naming things strikes me as the most, this is a hill I would die on. I think we have the discretion
To do
name
that.
things.
No, I'm agreeing.
I
with
get what
you.
you're saying, that there's like, we're getting close. But I think this is something that we should own. And we should think about maybe for other things as well. Like, I think there's a lot of sort of pivotal figures in T-Bird, past and present, that are reflective of sort of the T-Bird that we want to become, that we want to be, like when we think about sort of identity, like in the comp plan. And I think this is a very good way to do that. Like, it's very compelling. I think it's worth the thought.
And I'm with you 100%. As if it's us doing this for those purposes as a board project, I think we're in pretty solid territory. I'm not a lawyer, but that's
Yeah,
my,
I would
my
think
understanding.
so.
I think you could also announce the dedication intention of the bridge, and then take it.
Yes.
and say, is this an opportunity to see if there's more female sculpture to be oriented? Here, we're gonna have something on Doris Chapman Day. Also,
Those are probably just a one-time thing, by the way. Those days are usually like year specific.
Right. Right.
Okay, what do we need to do?
So you're gonna work on that.
Okay, so
You're gonna work on.
you're good with that.
You're gonna work on a write-up of some kind.
Okay,
Jess, could you write down the thing that you said?
yeah.
We'll run it,
Great, too.
we'll run it by everyone at State of the Village, just to see if there's any strong objection based on something we haven't thought of,
okay,
which I doubt would be the case. but it's always worth it.
It is a gender.
Cherish
reality.
the opportunity for that argument. I would cherish.
And then write up something that you would want to see printed on fancy parchment paper and framed as to the proclamation and the dedication of the whys and wheres. Why that spot?
okay. Do you want to work together on
Yeah.
that, Jess?
Green
Okay,
space,
Crazy. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
green space. Green
Yes,
team.
yes, chair.
And certainly, you know, when you do these kind of things, I think this is a good thing typically. You know, certainly opens the conversation to. Well, who else are you doing? Other groups, we recognize them. So we should be prepared for that, but I don't think those are bad conversations.
Well, I think you could ask that.
and that's
What do you guys think about the safety?
right. Well, yeah, and that's what I was thinking too, when we were talking about the bridge naming. A lot of women's names were thrown out. Not many men, so, and when I got to thinking about it, I was just like, there's just so many women. I mean, of course, I'm old, so I remember a ton of them, you know.
Your experience.
Yeah, what, yes, I'm experienced, yes. But like the first women doctor, and there were judges, and there were, you know. And I thought of Callista Smith, who started the conservatory, and the women who started the gem shop to raise money for
And
band
see, I
uniforms
know
and,
none of these names, so I feel like this is a little microcosm conversation.
yeah.
Would Seneca Falls send a rep?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That would be awesome.
yeah.
They just have been traveling.
Falls
Falls
resident,
resident.
oh, they're close.
So why don't you each chair think about a bigger dedication there?
Yeah, that's a little bit-
There you go.
Just because you were looking at me when you said that. That's you.
Well, it's
They totally,
I know you're a diverse resume.
they totally would, yeah.
Okay. We have a project.
Okay, I'm on it.
Any other items of old business? We have an item of new business, which is commissioning a sewer rate study, since we've had so much fun with the water rates.
So much fun. So we have done a study for our water rates with Municipal Solutions, our financial advisors. That has been instrumental in sorting out our water rates, which I can catch everybody up on at our next board meeting, but short aside is that I don't think I'll be going with proposing the conservation pricing, but we can talk more about that at another time. But we should really consider doing the same for our sewer rates. So the way that this has worked in the past for the water and the way I've discussed it with Municipal Solutions for the sewer rate. They'll go back and look at our budgets over the past 5 or so years, project that forward for another 5 or so years. Look at things like MRB has done a maintenance and replacement schedule for water and sewer, take that into account. Look at the loans that are going again, that are for sewer that we have that we're paying back. Those sorts of things, build out a picture of kind of what's the dollar amount we need to aim for, and then kind of work backwards from there and sort out how many, sewer customers we have inside and outside, that sort of a thing, and propose not only a dollar figure, but also kind of a rate structure. We may, for instance, we have the capital charge in water now, maybe we do something similar in sewer, that sort of a thing. I think it's gonna be very helpful in keeping on top of what our rates really need to be. And also what comes out of that, I'm finding, is a basis for then continuing to kind of manipulate and change as that dollar figure has to change for whatever reason. We can kind of work. You kind of get a spreadsheet and a formula out of that we can work with from there. So it's definitely worth our time. And well, I guess their time and our money to kind of get these things worked out that we can use as a basis moving forward. So in the Dropbox, there is a contract for sewer rates. You can take a look through it. It's not particularly long. Basically, it's kind of a per hour rate to work through this stuff. And I had an initial call with them to kind of structure the work. And so I would make a motion that we authorize Warden to sign this contract for a sewer rate study with Municipal Solutions.
I see their hourly fee. Where would this come out of?
That's the motion in the second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it would come out of the sewer. I don't have a line off the top of my head. Contractual comes to mind, but I haven't double checked on that. Yeah,
Okay.
but it would come out of the sewer budget. Yeah.
Did they have any idea of like total cost? Did they have a ballpark for that?
I didn't get that from them. And I don't know the water rate was kind of kicked off before I moved into the spot. So I don't have a total on what that was. I don't know if you recall.
Well, this is far less complex than water. So I'm guessing it's gonna be maybe in the 20 to 30 hour range when this comes to mind. We could ask them for an estimate of time, but I don't know if they'd even be able to give us a good estimate until they see the budgets.
Yeah, since it doesn't have that per 1,000 gallon fee piece of it, it's a lot less moving pieces. I think it's mostly we're paying them to kind of collect all the pieces and put it in one place. I think the kind of math on top of it is going to be pretty straightforward. But it is still helpful to have someone who is not me finding time in their life to put it all together.
Well, and what's particularly helpful is once they've done, has been some the data gathering and the initial figure, then it's easy enough to take that and say, well, I do or don't like this piece, like we've done with water. What if we started playing with rates here, playing with rates there. They built the template for us.
Yeah,
That's
the
valuable.
the water one that we have is quite helpful. It's a list of all the customers' water usage for, I want to say like 4 maybe billing periods and then project it out for a whole year. And then you can run through kind of your numbers. You can plug in what happens if we put the rate this much, what happens if we put the base this much, what does the total of dollar amount come out to be? And you can start playing around with that. The other nice thing is, in the report itself, it breaks out all that stuff. So you can talk about, okay, what are our loan payments and should we have a separate,
How
just
much each goes to.
right. In water, I was interested in finding the split between, what is kind of the base cost of like, someone's got to go down and check the water every day, even if no one turns on the water. Versus, if there's a water break and we pump 10 times more, how much more is the pumps cost and electricity, that kind of thing. Having that split out helps understand what cost, which parts of the puzzle should cost which, where should we put the costs in that rate structure.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Or conversation, whether to have Municipal Solutions do a sewer rate study for us. Okay, we're hearing none, and all in favor of having Municipal Solutions do a sewer rate study for us, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Any other items of new business? No members of the public online. If it doesn't have anything to add, so then I would entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss a couple of personnel matters.
So most.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Okay. Okay, and last one. Have a good one.